Now we have Kai Burton, who was in the ESE, the Elementary and Special Education class of 2018. She did manage to graduate, but only after facing a number of actions designed to force her out of the program. So she'll speak about those actions. Kai.
2 years ago, I graduated from Providence College after 4 long years of studying, battling racism and discrimination. I entered the elementary and special education program, knowing that I had the skills to teach, but wanting to become the most qualified educator I could be. I knew the value of a good education and the privilege of a great education. I entered my college career expecting to gain more teaching experience, and yet at the hands of racist professors and administrators, my college experience as an undergraduate student was simply traumatic. It is no secret that there's a shortage on passionate educators of color in the United States. They enter the field eager to learn how to inspire young minds, and something scares them off. So the question is, how do you scare away a passionate future educator? The short answer is, you find the whistleblowers, you traumatize them, and you try to keep them quiet. More specifically, you take an 18-year-old first semester college student who is eager to please and hungry for success, and sit her in a room amongst her peers and tell her that this is a difficult profession, but when she hands in her first big lesson plan, you don't give her a grade, but instead you tell her that she should come see you. You tell her that she's going to need to work significantly harder if she wants to keep up with her white counterparts, knowing that you would do and try your best to fail her regardless. When she tells you what inspired her to be a teacher in the first place, and she says her inspiration is every bad teacher she's ever had, and that professor who gave a lecture about black kids not being able to perform in school because of genetics, you tell her that's not a good enough reason. You lose a few of her papers, then at the end of the semester, tell her she should have written them again anyways. When she asks you what she needs to do better, you tell her to come see you in her office and let her know that you're worried she is going to struggle through this major instead of telling her what to work on. Tell her that this is going to be too hard for her. When she makes it through the first year and you don't see enough signs of discouragement, you observe a co-taught lesson and tell her that she isn't doing enough for you to give her a grade. So you tell her to rewrite this semester's lesson plans and reflections and suggest that she retake the class so you can observe her teaching alone too. Instill the fear of God in her. You find another professor and tell them to watch her closely this semester so you don't have to do all the heavy lifting on your own. She won't know who to trust, and you can ensure that she feels like she doesn't belong here. Belittle her in front of her peers and other professors and her students. Interrupt her lessons to tell her she's not doing enough. When she looks like she's succeeding academically beyond reasonable doubt, because she's done everything you've asked and more, you tell her that you're worried about her grade in professionalism. For those of you who don't know what the category of professionalism is, it's like a magician's hat of judgment. You can pull out just about anything you want from it whenever you'd like. Unexcused, excused absences, dress code, hairstyles, facial expressions, body language, handwriting or typed font preferences, page formatting on assignments, and more. And luckily it's not written or defined explicitly, so feel free to choose whatever you'd like and grade her as you please. And if you see her walking across campus in sweatpants outside of class hours, use that to make your decision. When she asks you what her professionalism grade is based on, tell her to look in the handbook and she'll never find it, so she won't ask you again. When she starts asking you what she needs to do to study abroad, tell her that her grades weren't where they need to be. When she asks more questions, take it upon yourself to change her grade and create additional documentation to back up what you told her before. And that way you can show her how what was supposed to be an A turned into a B- because professionalism then somehow re-averaged out to a C+, which is not good enough. Hopefully she's too tired and confused from taking 6 in-class courses and 2 off-site student teaching placements at a time. She doesn't look into it, but if she does, remind her that she is still falling behind and should focus on something else. Remind her that this program may not be the one for her, so when she's crying on a sidewalk at 5:30 in the morning in the middle of February because the school building doesn't officially open its doors till 6:55 a.m., she'll be questioning whether or not this is all worth it. If her mother calls you to ask what you're doing to her daughter, you tell her the same thing you said to her child. I think this may be too hard for her, she's just not getting it, but maybe her greatest downfall is that we can't connect because we don't look alike. You remind her that being black is an obstacle by making sure that it is. You do not give her permission to apply for scholarships, you lose some more of her papers, schedule all important meetings at the same time that she's at her extra teaching placement so you can mark her professionalism grade down a notch again for missing a mandatory meeting. Then you remind her that she's not good enough to study abroad in Italy, so instead, if she's going to go anywhere, she ends up in Belfast, Northern Ireland, where you hope she'll fail. If she ever makes it back to campus, you tell her that none of her work counts for a grade, and now she's behind again and should redo all of the assignments if she ever wants to graduate. Then when she's in the final weeks of her third year in college, you let her know that she's not allowed in the program until she takes the ACT again. Otherwise, she'll never be allowed to student teach. If she advocates for herself and tries to find someone she can trust to guide her, keep her as far away from that person as possible and remind her it's her fault. Let her know that the reason she's so tired is because she should have come to you sooner. By now, you and dozens of your colleagues have intervened to show her just how difficult this major can really be. Do this a couple of times and I'm sure you'll break her. It's been done before, and while not all students are so relentlessly dedicated, she will have to burn out at some point. Hopefully during her senior teaching placement, but something will get her to quit. So, how do you scare a passionate future educator away? You find the ones who refuse to sit silently and you give them hell.